everybody, to this week's edition of Caliente Tech Talk. I am Service Manager Derrick. With me tonight is
Phil
and
Chris.
Man, that level of excitement from them. Give me something, voice. Who else is with me tonight?
I'm here.
There's the voice. Okay, we are going to be talking just some good old motorcycling stuff, kind of like we used to, because this one kind of plays into what we all tend to do. And that's the bike we're standing behind right now, I guess.
Yep.
I've got small Phil with us tonight because big Phil's too intimidating, so he's going to be low. The bike in front of us is a 2001 Dyna FXD. This poor beast came in on a trade, and it was in need of help. Blown cam bearings, worn out. Somebody put ridiculous bars on it that didn't fit the bike. Stuff was broken, and they were going to send it off to auction. It wasn't even going to be a keeper bike. It was so hammered with the year. And I saw it, and I don't know if we're getting a whole shot of this bike. Do we see the whole bike or just the upper?
We have a whole shot.
So if you see the exhaust on this bike, way down there on the very end, these are old Vance & Hines full system exhaust. And I saw that exhaust, a little, I don't know what you can call the end caps on this one, but that style, it just reminded me of like an old 50s hot rod when I saw it. And I said, I'm a Dyna man. Dyna man.
You do like the Dynas.
I like the Dynas. I dig the Dynas. It had
So
it had a
weird.
mismatch.
Come on.
And this bike was all wrong, and I saw that exhaust thought, and I saw this in it. So, decided, I've always wanted to put together an old kind of 50s hot rod look, and I found some old,
So 50s hot rod look in a newer.
Yes, I like modern technology.
Modern technology.
I'm a twin cam guy.
Modernish.
I know the purists,
Because
because
it's
it's not a blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so that was what we did. And, I got with our painter.
That is what you did,
That's
sir.
what I did. It's my bike.
Exactly.
This is
What
my
you
bike.
did.
So
it's
this-
not we, it is you.
So when I, crap out a motorcycle, this is what comes out of me. This is what I like. And this is now, a 98-inch cubic inch hammer kit, and we put the upgraded pump and plate in it to get rid of that problem. Found some old Andrews drop-in 44 cams which I didn't make anymore. And then of course, and this is what gets us into, am I keeping you up? This is what gets me into this discussion of bringing bikes back to life, whether it's an old bike or even a newer bike that's been neglected or just well used. I mean, it may have been well loved, it's just, ridden
This was
hard
not
and put away
well
well. It was hammered.
It was hammered.
It was hammered. And I saw something, I could do something.
This is the guy that never does
Yeah,
an oil
anything.
change.
Nothing. And I first see it and I'm like, oh, well, a little tweak here.
You're a visionary.
A little cleanup there, no problem. But as you turn the wrench and you uncover the next stone and you just see the train wreck that is beneath it, and then you can't stop. And now you're just going, and as Phil, right before we start filming, points at a little mark on the old headlight bucket here because this is still the original bucket. And on this side, it's got a little war wound on it. He had to point that out because he's an ass. It's just how it works with these bikes. So all of this is our. It's not so much a warning to you folks out there in the world. It's more of just a discussion of when you start going down this road and the slippery slope it turns into.
Oh.
You're
telling me.
Yeah.
I mean,
you start uncovering.
I fondle anywhere from 64s to
Oh God, yeah.
Be prepared
85s.
for the size of can of worms here.
Yeah, I've got 25 years of people doing wrong things to it. You like do 50 years of people doing wrong, and you just don't. You just don't.
I think his oldest
I have
bike. Your oldest bike you own brand new, right?
Yeah, you bought it new.
Want it brand new.
So you
know
put
three.
the worms in the can. You know the
That
worms
bike is
that are in
great.
there. Oh, shit, he's
Nothing wrong with that bike.
So, if you want to turn whatever project you have into this, I would advise you to be patient, save your money because you're going to need it, because everything costs, and also, maybe be a little flexible. There are things that I did to this bike that normally I wouldn't do, but in the sake of budget, I did, and still made it work. There are still some older parts on it that I'm still reusing.
But from start to finish, you had what, maybe a month in this bike?
Of actual build time, I'm probably in the 40-hour range. So yeah, you know, and I was here and there. Now, granted, this bike, you know, it's sat
amazing
for a
in
while.
Which is amazing in itself.
Well, but it's what you can do if you just like say, okay, now I'm gonna just tear into it and do it. I mean, but it was the fun part for me is the collecting of the parts and the idea of putting it all together. But you gotta have that vision. If you change your mind after you've already started buying parts, it gets really expensive. Don't do that. I mean, find the one thing and then follow the theme. So I saw the exhaust, and then I was like, okay, this is a narrow glide. The guy had super wide bars on it, which were wrong. I said, I need narrow glide style BMX 1-inch handlebars, just old school looking gnarliness. And then the wheels, it's like, I want to get a matching set of the 13 spoke, and I'm going to powder. I mean, that's just what we're doing for this. But then you got to remember all the other things it needs, because it's still a 25-year-old motorcycle that had miles on it, and there's maintenance. The brakes were shot. So these are new rotors, new pads, the rebuild kits, all the service work. You start getting into what's going on with the carburetor and the rebuild on that, the new petcock on that, and then the whole top end tear down, and then it's still not done. I mean, there's still other things when I ride it, I'm like, oh, I probably need to address that because, you know, I rebuilt the front forks, but the rear shocks are still original and they're getting a little tired. That's the stuff we run into. What kind of things have you run into on the ones you've done where you've dug into? Well,
I mean, complete motor builds.
Yeah.
I mean, from bottom in all the way up, you know, bent flywheels. But my thing is, like, especially with the older bikes, you know you're just pretty much starting at that point.
Yeah.
At that point, you know, your frame's bent, so you're going to chop off half of it and weld on a hardtail. Or even, I mean, I'm a Sportster guy, so I absolutely love Sportsters. So, I mean, especially pre-04s, so you're getting oils.
Of course.
I was gonna say, I almost think that on these ones, like we up in Oregon, we did a XL 1000,
Okay.
and it was almost to the point that it was like, ooh, this piece still is serviceable, versus like, oh, I need to replace this piece. We're like, oh my god, the gas, you know, the tank still works. Cool, everything is sealed.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of end up with a little bit more newer bikes, because a lot of this stuff is going obsolete. But I put a hot rod cam in it. I can still find, you know, a Dyna ignition for it. They're still out there. There's still parts available for twin cams, so you can find them, especially carbureted stuff. So as much as we're running into the they just don't make it anymore, there is still new old stock. There's still aftermarket companies.
You gotta be willing to wiggle and search a little bit.
Perfect
Stuff's out
example.
there.
You mean if you get what a 99 or what is it, 01 Magneti Morelli?
Oh, you change the carburetor instantly.
Yeah, you change the carburetor instantly. Why? Because you can still find carbureted.
Exactly. And Magmars you can. But you know, looking at this right now, these are brand new nostalgia grips from Harley. So they still make these. That seat is a brand new Saddleman.
It's a Saddleman, man.
Saddleman. So those things are still out there to purchase and get on these bikes when you need to. And a lot of it, like Drag Specialties in particular, and Western Power Sports, they're doing repops of things. So like something as silly as the license plate mount, which is a repop of the Harley mount done in chrome, and you can find that. So even if Harley's gone, no, we don't make it anymore, it's obsolete, other companies are still making them. And that's one thing I do like about Harley, where some of the metric stuff, it's harder to do that because, you know, like my 94 CBR 600, yeah, you're done. There's no more parts for it. It's gone. You got to find donor bikes or put things together or make your own. This you can still buy from the aftermarket world. So if you've got a bike, and we always talk about this when people come in, I know you guys have heard it, they're like, man, I want to get this bike running again. You know, I love this bike. I got to get running. We'll ask them, okay, is it the real value or is it sentimental value? Because those are two very different numbers. Because I may love this bike, but at the end of the day, it has a book value, and that's just what it is.
I've bought a lot of motorcycles from strictly value. You know, customer brings it in. Oh man, that's how much I'm gonna have to spend just to get it on the road. I'm sorry.
If they sit for years, I mean, you
Well,
guys have seen
I have my Springer. There's a value that the bike is probably worth,
Yeah,
but then the value that I would need to sell it is different.
yeah. And if you know that going into this project, you just need to be prepared for that. And that's why so often you'll buy someone's nearly completed or completed project for a price far better than what the person put into it. Because you're putting in your time and your effort, and yeah, even though the dollar amount I put into this to buy the components, it was my time as a technician. I actually put my technician hat back on for a minute. I know these guys
Got his
laughed at
hands
me.
dirty.
Yeah, I was on a lift actually working, and they were like, "Oh my god, that's so weird." But you know, all that time, I'm not even factoring in. Had we built this in the shop, and I had one of these guys put it together, oh my god, forget it, because they actually want to get paid for their knowledge, which I'm trying to find a way around that. They haven't let me do that yet. So I stepped in. So be prepared. Either turn the wrench yourself, or you're going to be out of pocket for someone to do it.
When you're getting into these little bit older bikes, turn the wrench yourself. Learn. Pick up a book. Pick up a manual. You know, that's my favorite thing to do. These guys still catch me sitting at the end of my lift, opening up manual and just reading the manual, because I need to learn this stuff before I put a wrench on.
Yeah, I agree with
Buy the manual.
Yeah,
Buy the digital copy of the manual. Buy the manual.
Oh, I was busting out back then they were like, man, they lump all the twin cam stuff in one book. I was still busting that out for this because it was sad because I used to do this as a profession and I could do a top end on a twin cam, my eyes closed and I'm thinking about it, and all of a sudden I'm putting together the cam plane and I was like, what's the torque spec? And
God, I'm not getting any oil to the top end.
That's other bikes. This one has, this one did have that issue, didn't it? What did we figure out it was?
It's just a clog
push rod.
push rod. You didn't check your push rod.
That's
And it's
right,
in there.
yeah. Because I'm an idiot and I reused the push rods out, which I shouldn't have done.
No, you should have.
You
That's
should've.
fine.
You just
It's
never
never
pushed
clean.
it.
I didn't clean it out. So that's crappy technician work right there. Is what that is.
It's retired technique.
And these guys going, hey, you should have cleaned that out. Zero help. Zero interjection when I'm actually doing the work. But yes, I had a clogged push rod too, which
He didn't want to
not
pay
a very
for knowledge.
common thing you see. But this one happened.
It doesn't happen very often, does it, clogged?
So yeah, that was fun because it was it made it about 4 miles and into a fighter pilot.
But you did a great job, man. It looks beautiful.
It looks fun. It actually won a People's Choice thing at one of our. You can say it was rigged. I don't care. I still.
No, I don't say- I was gonna say
It was, no, I think we have all the evidence in the world that it was not rigged.
No, it was not rigged.
But people did
But
not.
what did you win?
Well, we don't need to discuss what category it was because apparently the people that were there that day don't understand what a chopper is because somehow this won best chopper. Which, if anything, I added parts to this bike and not chopped parts off. But hey,
You still won.
a W's a W, baby.
Exactly.
All
A
I know
trophy's a
is
trophy.
all I know is if you want to be John Travolta and live in Greaseland and ride the motorcycle like you ride in Grease, there you go.
Well, this would be
Grease too.
Grease 2. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm going to have to say this because, yes, this would be Cool Rider. You're welcome, Kirsten, on that one. And she's probably humming the song right now as she watches this, and I will most likely get some sort of text message or email later because that's the dumbest movie ever made.
But this is the bike
But
you
this
rode.
is the bike, so apparently, subliminally, it stuck in my head.
To me, this just gives me American Graffiti all over it.
It definitely has some of that. It's got.
I'm still more Grease. This is more.
I'm trying to
Because
help.
it's
What did he call it?
50s.
What did he call his car's name? What's the car's name? Grease Lightning.
Grease Lightning, yeah. You know,
With the red wheels and the flames
red
and the
wheels,
black. If it had a glass hood over the gas tank or a glass gas tank, it'd be perfect.
I can. Insert picture here. I'll clip in the pic of the car that gave me this inspiration.
But it was the bad guy's car, exactly.
Well, that one, yes, but I actually got a picture of an old hot rod, and I was like, I want that theme. And our painter looked at it and was like, yeah, I can do that. And did a really good job, so thanks to STX on that one, because they did the paint and then fell and laid the pinstriping, so they did a
Then
really
you
good
weren't
job.
going to do it.
I wasn't going to do the pin, and
Right.
then they
Oh,
kind of
man.
said,
Pinstriping
Oh,
makes-
yeah, I know. Well, so when you are building these, sometimes you got to listen to your idiot friends because they actually do know better than you.
Should there be flames in the back or just black?
I think altogether, I dig the black. I mean,
I don't see.
You
I don't want
can't go
I don't want my
flames too
ass on
far.
fire.
No, I
It's,
think I've done flames.
and you know, you gave me a hard time. The wheels are exactly what they're supposed to be. The tires they're for show.
Horrible.
I'm not gonna say they're horrible. They're for
They're
show.
for show.
If you want to do silly burnouts all the time, they're great tires for that. If you want to go ride the racetrack, you might want to put something a little different on here. this has been a fun bike. So if you got any questions, if you've got a project, please send us your project mix.
And
We'd
ask
like to see
questions.
what you guys want. Ask us questions. If you got questions about twin cam stuff, I'm happy to help. Questions about modern bikes, these guys. Questions about Pan Ams, he's the king. We just love motorcycles in general. And of course, I'm going to be looking for a new project now. So if there is thoughts and ideas on what we should build next,
Oh,
let
I
me
have some
know.
thoughts.
You have some thoughts?
We talked at our production meeting earlier.
No
Right?
Softail Springers. I don't care what we do. But yes, we will build something cool. In fact, I think in the next episode or an episode coming up, we will be discussing a more modern bike we prepped and did here at Caliente Harley-Davidson. Or if that episode got released before this one, go back to that
Go
one.
back.
As we have nothing to do with production, direction, and release of videos because we are the talent, clearly. Thanks everybody for joining us on this edition of Tech Talk. I'm sorry I'm the one talking all night, but it's my bike, so shut up. But thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Caliente Tech
Please
Talk.
Please follow.
Like and subscribe. Teespring merch, blah blah blah.
Links in the bottom.